the millionaire who went bankrupt and became a Robinson Crusoe. In 1987, David Glasheen was worth $30 million. He owned 2 yachts and several beachfront properties. By 1991, he was broke and homeless. Then he moved to a remote island, alone. He's still living there as a castaway at 79. This is his extraordinary story. Glasheen was an Australian entrepreneur. In the 1980s, a friend showed him a map of Papua New Guinea. It supposedly showed the location of a gold mine. Glasheen raised $2 million in capital. He launched a mining exploration firm. It went public on the Australian Securities Exchange. His shares soared from 25 cents to $1.40. On paper, Glasheen's net worth ballooned into the millions. He was happily married with 2 daughters. He went on skiing excursions at lavish American resorts. But when the market crashed, the dream imploded. His firm's shares plummeted to 2 cents. Then the banks came knocking. In 1991, Glasheen was evicted from his home. His family life crumbled. Glasheen started drinking heavily. He slept on friends' couches. Eventually, he moved in with a beauty salon owner named Danica. He attempted to settle back into domestic life, but it didn't feel right anymore. So when he heard of the island, he was immediately excited. Malpico Island National Park, or Restoration Island, is pretty remote. It can only be accessed by boat or helicopter. 2/3 of the island belongs to the native Kukuyao people. The rest was once leased by a consortium. The businessmen behind it were looking to sell their stake. Glasheen didn't have the required $1.2 million, but he was able to convince a few investor friends. Eventually, he secured one of 8 shares in the island. Glasheen's partners wanted to build a resort. He hated the idea, and the Kukuyao challenged it too. In 1997, Glasheen packed a small suitcase and took off. The suitcase held 3 shirts, 2 pairs of shorts, a torch, a couple of books, a jar of chili powder, toothpaste, and a toothbrush. Since then, Glasheen has lived on the island. For drinking, he collects rainwater. He says the ocean contains all the protein I need. He's got a fishing tackle and a cast net for catching bait. He uses a flint stone to light fires. His best friends are wild dingoes. Glasheen also has 2 mannequins in his hut, Phyllis and Miranda. He jokingly calls them his girlfriends.
It's like living in Jurassic Park,
he says. There are dozens of foods on Restoration Island. Glasheen gathers coconuts, beach almonds, bush cherries, wild capers, walnut plums. He also has a stockpile of canned and dried goods. Glasheen makes grocery shopping trips several times a year. He also brews his own beer and occasionally sells it to passing fishermen. Glasheen is a bit of a celebrity. Russell Crowe dropped by on his honeymoon in 2003.
He asked me for a picture, but I turned him down.
Glasheen says, there are plenty of dangers on the island. There are mosquitoes, acid-spraying ants, deadly snakes, and spiders. 2 of Glasheen's dingoes have been killed by venomous bites. The water is infested with sharks and saltwater crocodiles. Glasheen's advice is,
if you get chased by a croc, it's best to run in zigzags to throw them off.
The weather can be a menace too. The castaway has survived 3 devastating cyclones, but he's getting too old by his own admission. Glasheen has internet, but it's very slow and unreliable. In 2022, he pleaded for more companions.
I'm not 18 anymore. It's heavier and harder. I fainted one day and then fell and broke my hip. The phones don't work when you need them half the time, so the best security I could get is more people. The wheels start falling off when you're 80.
Would you like to move to the island?